a Brazilian Satanist delivered by Jesus Christ of Nazareth, former practitioner of magic turned pastor. He tells us about his journey and his infernal descent into the world of occultism, a man who dedicate cartoon and soap opera to demons so they can gain large audience. A cartoon that has been dedicated to Satan gives the power to entities to come to children and disturb them psychologically. They can cause a child to have the idea to kill his parents. So consecrating soap opera to Satan was my first job, and I got to know the actors. These famous people. I have been a pastor for more than 10 years. I have traveled to 12 countries and in all the states of Brazil. I have been preaching in every little corner of Brazil. I was best known in Brazil in 2004, after a debate and especially when I started to give my testimony. Now I live in the state of Rio, in a city where almost everyone is evangelical. Those who are not, are children of believers. When I was in the city of Resende, in the state of Rio de Janeiro, there was an accident between a truck and a van. Just then I stopped the car and I rushed to help. There was an old gentleman, pieces of metal were blocking his legs, another piece of iron was in his chest. I approached him, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move much, because there was wreckage everywhere. He looked at me and said, "Are you a believer?" "I am a pastor. I now want to come back to Jesus, because I feel the pain of death." I put my hand on him. I prayed for him and I announced to him what I received from the Lord. "You will not die, you will even go and preach the gospel of Christ." Quickly help arrived. When he was already strapped to a stretcher, he raised his hand, thumbs up, looking at me. I had already felt the difference. He told me that it had been 22 years since he had strayed from God's path. My brothers, God has a plan for each of us. If He wants to bring us back to Himself, He will do it one way or another. But we must not wait to be on the verge of death. Come back when you are healthy, to work for God. But God has raised an army. It is me and you to fight against the forces of evil. We must dedicate our lives to God. While you waste time on unnecessary leisure, souls are dying at the hands of Satan. Pray for the salvation of souls. You have the possibility through your prayers to not only protect yourself but to curb the harm done to people on the other side of the earth. So take the time. It's been hard to get this far. The devil has struggled in many ways to keep me from giving this testimony, but he lost. I am here preaching. I am from Rio de Janeiro. When I was still a teenager and homeless, suffering from hunger, one day I went to a welfare center believing I was going to be saved, but it was the biggest curse for me. A car stopped and a lady came out distributing soup to street children. I didn't know who she was. She was the most powerful Brazilian witch, a Macumba practitioner. She was known as Commander-in-Chief of the High Black Magic Squadron. Since I was in the queue to receive the soup, she took me out of the line. She took me home. This is how I arrived in the biggest witchcraft center, where she received politicians, actors and actresses, etc. Powerful people came there to make a satanic pact or ask for a mystical service. She said to me, "I need you, you will be my substitute." Then she locked me in a dark room for 45 days. She gave me spiritual treatment, a cleansing of my mind, and my past was erased. After 45 days where she was giving me soup, I was already used to this soup. When I left the room, I went to the fridge and when I opened it there was no soup, there was only human blood. That was what she gave me with salt for 45 days, and because of that, I started to receive spirits. For another 7 days, she locked me in a development room to receive guides. They are priesthoods from Angola, very powerful marabouts, leaders of worship centers of one of the Afro-Brazilian religions. These terms are used by followers of Candomblé, which is a mystical religion. When the priest in this category perform rituals to kill someone, they can kill him in the next hour if God does not intervene. They can do a ritual to send leprosy, a disease, or make someone bankrupt. So the woman had locked me in a development room dedicated when I was still a child. She had taught me all the art of magic, all the control of satanic power, all the strength of black magic. When that was finished, she said to me, "You will lead 27 high-grade black magic cults. Do not accept any humiliation from any human being." I was possessed by an exam, which gave me this supernatural strength. Possessed by this entity, I could kill any man that challenged me. People started to fear me, and I was then known as the little boy from hell, the youngest priest in the state of Pernambuco. From then on, I started to do major works. In 1982, I got to know Roberto Marino, president of the Brazilian satellite the Globo Group, now deceased. The Maida Santo said to me, "I'm going to introduce you to someone very powerful. If he likes you, he will want you to work for him." I was doing a ritual for him, and he appreciated it. He then hired me to dedicate his Brazilian soap operas to demons to gain audience. In 1982, I started working for Brazilian television channel called Globo. The Globe satellite. I worked to consecrate their soap operas and series to Satan. I did several jobs for several people from the satellite Globo. I did consecration for presenters and actors. I did work for an humorous troupe of Diddy. You don't know it, but Diddy is in the second highest grade in black magic. He is a pope of black magic. He has that sweet appearance, but if you step on him you won't live long enough to tell what happened. He is a terrible instrument of Satan. He lives through satanic rituals to obtain prosperity and fame. I also worked for Xuxa, a presenter of children's programs. Her nickname translated in black magic means Oxum and Oryxa, which are demonic entities. This presenter of children's programs works with Exum Mirim. He is a small demon who dominates children in her TV programs, and in cartoons. They make children rebellious. It is these spirits that from childhood push little boys to be effeminate and to want to try lipstick, for example. These spirits make little girls lesbians. Children are dominated by these spirits through television, through these children's programs and cartoons. A satanic force is reaching homes. Not all of the monsters you see in these programs were created by chance. They actually exist in the spirit world before they are portrayed on TV. Lots of cartoons, not all of them, but several of them are dedicated in black magic rituals. I myself dedicated a cartoon on his arrival in Brazil, He-Man. There is a character in this cartoon, a flying figurine, which represents the Exum Caveira, or the god of death, in black magic. The opponent of He-Man is called Esqueleto. He is the Exu of death, the god of death in black magic. The characters in these cartoons are not chosen at random. I also dedicated another cartoon on its arrival in Brazil, Thundercats, in which there is an entity called Mum-Ra. Mum-Ra is a caboclo from Angola. Mum-Ra is a fictional supervillain and the main antagonist of the Thundercats franchise. He is an undead evil sorcerer bound to the servitude of four malevolent, godlike entities known as the ancient spirits of evil. When Mum-Ra is transformed, he approaches a huge boiling pot. He stretches out his arms and evokes the old evil spirits. He evokes the first demons who came to earth. He transforms this old form, this decadent form, into Mum-Ra, and he then turns into a great demon. Then, two cobras grow on its head. On its chest is a cobra with two heads. Then he continues with a ritual where he turns and transmits a satanic word cursing children. Mum-Ra is a mummy who transforms into an evil spirit in the cartoon. At this moment he transmits a message to children and people watching Thundercat on TV. In the name of Lucifer, Prince of Darkness, I curse all those who look at me. This spirit disturbs the children. They no longer respect their parents and become restless. The satanic force is terrible. A cartoon that has been dedicated to Satan gives the power to entities to come to children and disturb them psychologically. They can cause a child to have the idea to kill his parents. There is an entity named Seven Crossroads. It is the entity that founded the Umbanda mystical religion. This Seven Crossroads proceeds by means of a male priest of Afro-Brazilian religions. In Portuguese those words translate as Father of the Saint, which is an adaptation from the Yoruba language, Babarisha, a title given to the African religion's priests. I was doing ritual jobs for important people in our country. I was working jointly with Shio Chico, known today as Pastor Francisco. He was the strongest black magic priest in the state of Brasilia. I was with Shio Chico and 5 other priest graduates in the high elite of black magic. It was the time when Tancredo Neves won the presidential election in 1985. The witchcraft drums resounded in Bahia, Recife, Brasilia and Rio de Janeiro to mystically finish him off. At the end of 15 days of ritual, Tancredo Neves, the President of the Republic, died because he could not withstand the pressure of the satanic forces which were produced to kill him. The politics we live in are dirty politics. Most politicians have a pact with black magic. For a senator to be elected, a vote is required, but in Brasilia, there are senators that we have never seen, we do not know their names or their numbers, and no one voted for them, yet they are there. It is the same for certain federal deputies. These are people who work black magic in order to be elected and to become rich. There are people who don't like to vote for Christians. They don't like the idea that a man of God is in politics. They prefer to vote for macumbeiros, practitioners of magic. How I was consecrating and dedicating animation and soap opera in black magic. I am going to show you posters on which are printed notices of missing children. It is written here, missing child. This child, Fabiano, disappeared when he was 13 years old in 1996. At 13 years old, don't you think that Fabiano could tell the competent authorities what is the name of his father and his mother? Can't he tell the name of his neighborhood or the city in which he lives? The answer is yes. So why isn't he home? Why has it been so long and no one can find him? I will explain and give you the reason, but first look at this other poster, where Taishan, who disappeared in 1992, was also 13 years old. There are several of these papers like this, people who disappeared and never came home again. You know why? These people do not get lost. They are kidnapped to be sacrificed in black magic rituals. I now want to alert everyone who watches the animation and soap opera. Before recording a soap opera, there is a satanic ritual. The soap opera is offered to the entity called Caboclo Oryxa. This demon called the Caboclo Oryxa claims and demands 6 children as a sacrifice for a soap opera to gain a huge audience. We tie the child's feet, the arms, we put him on an altar. Underneath there is a receptacle. We take a dagger of a wicked spirit called Trankara, and we pierce the heart of the child. When you take out that dagger, you press so that there is pressure and blood comes out. The child struggles on the table until death. Then we remove his blood, his flesh, his bones, which we burn like incense to the demon Oryxa. The same process is repeated with 5 other children. The soap opera is said to be consecrated. The actors of the series are part of the ritual. And then the soap opera is broadcast, with terrible power. On Judgment Day, the priest will pay for their actions. The actors and actresses who took part in this will answer for all of this before God. It is for these reasons that one should never watch the soap opera again, because now that you know these things, you become accomplices when you watch them. It is not something essential to your lives. There are people who don't lose an episode, and when they're not home, they record. What fidelity! Yet there are Christians who do not have this same loyalty to God, who do not devote their time to God. It is because of your watching these soap opera for which these children are disappearing. You did not know it. Certainly, but from today you know it. Nothing on television captivates as much as a series. You can know someone who is very nice and very calm, but when she's watching her show, try turning off the television a bit and you'll see her reaction. It seems that 60% of women become adulterous as a result of these soap operas. The actresses project adultery and promiscuity in these stories. Then the women at home feel that their own life is bland and unsatisfying. Yes, these shows make people unfaithful, so consecrating soap opera to Satan was my first job, and I got to know the actors. These famous people. I knew Renato Aragão. He hired me to do a ritual and a sacrifice for him. I did, and he paid me, and I went to offer the money he paid me as an offering to Iemanjá, the Queen of the Sea. It was on a beach called Boa Viagem, in Recife. When I brought her this offering, she materialized and she said to me, "I don't want anything, you brought me here." I asked her, "What do you want?" "I want blood." I said, "What kind of animal?" "I don't want animal blood, I want human blood. I don't want a man's blood, I want a woman's blood. I want you to go back and bring me a 15-year-old girl. You will stab her 7 times here in the sea. I will drink her blood and I will eat her flesh." I came out of the sea looking for a 15-year-old girl. Know that when you leave your house, the devil is watching you. Wherever you go, the devil is watching you. Be sure of this. Do you know why he can't do anything to you? Because an angel with a flaming sword is guarding you, he can't do anything against you. The Bible says in Psalm 34:7, "The angels of the Lord encamp around those who fear him and delivers them." That is why the devil cannot take you. You just need to be faithful and obedient to the Lord, for the angels of the Lord are there. Here I am looking for the 15-year-old girl. I was in front of a college, and I was waiting for the classes to end. There a multitude of young people came out and I spotted a girl whose age I estimated at 15 years in relation to her class. I began to follow her to a street where there weren't a lot of people and I quickly parked my car. I got out, grabbed her by the neck and threw her in the car with her things so as not to leave any traces. I set off towards the beach of Boa Viagem. For the sacrifice, this girl had to die for the actress Renato Aragão to have more success and more money. When I arrived at Boa Viagem Beach, this girl was almost passed out, but a police patrol car passed by and she started screaming. I was scared, but I still managed to grab her neck so that she passed out again. When I parked the car, she came out the back door and started running and leaving me behind. Fortunately for me, she was not running towards the city center, otherwise someone could have seen her. She had run to the beach, and this Boa Viagem beach is very wide. Very quickly, I caught up with her. This young girl was white-skinned, her eyes were red, she had cried so much, she was desperate with the fear of death, and I had this dagger in my hands. If you run, I will open your arm and you will bleed into the water. It is better that you come quietly. I will kill you quickly and you will not even feel the pain of death. This young girl was desperate. She was afraid of losing her life, her future. I was the devil's instrument, so killing her meant nothing to me. I approached her to grab her and carry her into the sea, but she took a step back and raised her hand. I thought she wanted to fight, so I approached her again and she shouted very loudly, "Satan, by the power of the name of Jesus I cast you out now." At that moment a strong light came out of the girl and made me fall. I had my spirits in my body and I had fallen to the ground. I looked at the girl above me. She was red and surrounded by light and cried out to me again, "Young man, I tell you, I belong to the Lord who is the creator of heaven and earth." I couldn't move anymore. The spirits inside me were paralyzed. The girl is gone. I don't know if she herself saw that light that was in her. I don't think so. I finally got up. She was already far away. As I got into my car, I told myself that she must be a Maida Santo, and that I was going to kill her in a ritual. I called several very strong Maida Santo, powerful marabouts, to help me in the ritual. We had done the ritual and there I sent a spirit to kill her at her place, but the spirit never returned. So I did another ritual. I sent Exucavera. He was gone and came back. He materialized among us and I asked him, "Did you kill the girl?" "No, I didn't kill her and I can't kill her. I can't even touch a single strand of her hair." "Is she more senior than me?" "No, I can't kill her because she belongs to God. If you belong to the Lord God, the supreme and terrible being, the devil cannot make any attempt on your life, for God is on your side. So be obedient, watch your life, for things happen that you cannot even imagine." I was a wizard, I had killed, and the only time I had failed was with this real Christian. God gives you victory and frees you from the hands of Satan. I was outraged by this failure. I telephoned the Mamina in Bahia to ask her what was going on. I told her this story and she asked me, "What did the spirit tell you?" I replied, "He told me that the girl is a Christian and that he could not kill her. When you stayed 8 months here with me, I told you several times that you cannot do any work against the real Christians." I said, "But what is the problem? She's human, isn't she?" She said, "Yes, but their God does not allow witchcraft to reach them. Do you remember when I told you that you could become the greatest Bibliaxa? So stop looking for Christians," I said, "and if I don't stop, what will happen?" She said, "You're going to die." I asked, "But who's going to kill me?" She said, "The God of Christians." "Yet you told me that my guides protect me from everything and everyone." She said, "But not from him. He can destroy you in less than a second despite your guides. So when someone asks you to do a death ritual, find out who the targeted person is before starting the rituals. If he or she is a practicing Christian, refrain from doing it because the spirits that live in you will be destroyed and will cause your death." 15 days later, a young girl looked for me, saying, "They told me you were doing death jobs." I wanted to kill a woman. I asked her, "What did she do to you?" She said she didn't do anything, but she's with a man I'm in love with. "Are you dating him?" I asked. She said, "Yes, I'm going out with him, but she is the man's wife and I want to kill her to keep him." "Do you have money?" "Yes, no matter how much it takes, I'll pay." I said, "Bring me a picture of the girl and find out what her religion is." "Okay." She brought me the picture, and to find out about the religion of this woman, I asked her, "So what religion does she belong to?" She said, "That's not what you think at all. She doesn't attend any mystical center, she's not made a santo, or any of that, she's a poor woman." I said, "Yes, but I want to know what religion does this poor woman belong to as to whether I can kill her." "These are the kind of poor women who go to church." I said, "Then you have to find another macumbero, wizard, to kill her." "Why?" "I told you she has no protection, she doesn't see a santo pay, she doesn't wear any charms on her, so she is accessible. This poor woman, as you say, I am not able to kill her. Her God does not allow entities to enter her life to kill her." Make no mistake, my brothers, do not practice any ritual, do not go and consult anyone except your God. Whatever you need, ask God yourself. Ask yourself, what does the Bible say about this? You have to lock yourself in your room and talk to God, and He will be the. Do you think you can consult marabouts, listen to advice from people who practice magic, and after this, come kneeling before the Lord? Do you think you are protected? Choose your side, be faithful to God and He will be faithful to you. So I had stopped working against Christians. It was also at this time that I dedicated the novel A Tita do Agreste. It was a period when certain crimes that I had committed had been discovered. The people, kidnappers, who worked for us bringing us children had been imprisoned. They disclosed the name of the center and myself. The federal police came to pick me up. I had to be put in the high-security prison of the state of Pernambuco, because prisoners wanted to kill me, because they had learned that I was sacrificing children. I was sent to São Bernardo prison in Alagoas, but São Bernardo newspapers and television revealed that the biggest child eater of Pernambuco arrives in town, the Pai de Santo Menino do Inferno, a terrible macumbero, sorcerer. All the prisoners were waiting for me to kill me. The population was in revolt. The police car I was in was pelted with stones. I was 20 at the time, and I wondered what I had done to the people to make them want to kill me. I was placed in an isolated cell. When I was sent out for a walk, I received beatings from all sides from the other prisoners. Once while I was queuing for lunch, a prisoner came with a dagger and said, "Macumbero, you are going to die right away." He thrust the dagger in my stomach and the blade went to lodge itself in my spine. When he pierced me he was still moving the dagger, telling me that I was going to die. Then when he removed the dagger from my stomach, the blood started to squirt and I had collapsed on the ground. The other prisoners approached and started kicking me in the head. The guards had been slow to arrive, hoping that I would die. Even I didn't understand why I wasn't dying. The blows were raining down. I was not dead because of the promise of God when He announced it to my mother in the womb that I was going to be a great preacher. God is faithful and true. I was stabbed 8 times in all. Over the next few days, I continued to be beaten. I called the Maida Santo, "When are you going to get me out of here?" "I cannot get you out of there, since you confessed the crimes. You will stay there." I spoke to everyone, to the governor, but there are no solutions for you. We're going to have a meeting with the Bibliorixers and we'll see what we do with you. At the age of 16, I was already commander-in-chief on the scale of black magic. At that age, I had already dabbled voodoo, fetishism and mystical practices. I reached rank 33, which is the last rank in black magic. 50 Argyle Road, Edmonton N182 pp.